Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk, and today I've just been up in the attic. I was having a look for something else, and as I was rummaging around, I laid my hands on this. Now, I think I showed this in a pickups video quite a few years ago. It's a laptop which I picked up when you could still pick vintage laptops up really cheaply. I think I paid £1 for this. And what we've got here, apart from a really nice vintage laptop case, this is a Vtech 386 SX33 laptop. Obviously not for year 2000 compliance. Hopefully we can do something about it. If we can get this laptop actually firing up and working, hopefully there's something we can actually do about that and perhaps get that printing off. Now, the problem with this laptop, and the reason why I haven't really gone further with it before now, is that. Basically, when I got this laptop, I initially tried powering it up. And I did notice there was some discoloration damage to the power supply that it came with. So I investigated. Anyway, I opened the power supply up, and I don't know what had failed in there, but basically a large resistor in it had smoked. It got very hot, obviously over quite a long period of time. And it had literally burnt. I mean, it wasn't a particularly big power supply for this. It was probably only around that kind of size. And a big piece of the PCB all around there was literally carbonized. It just crumbled to bits in your hands. Essentially, when you've got a power supply in that kind of state, it is not repairable. Even if it had got the power supply working, it wouldn't have been safe to use. There was that much carbonization on the PCB, it would have never been safe to use. So essentially what I did is I took the actual power cable off it, put that with the laptop and put it away to do, have a look at in the future. And now is in the future. So what I thought we'd do in this video, this is the kind of laptop I really like playing with. This is from the era of computers, really, which are my favourite PCs to play with. So what I thought we'd do in this video is just have a quick look over the laptop externally and see what we've got. And then see if we can figure out a way of either just using the battery terminals inside or possibly using the cable there, and actually see if we can get this thing to power up. So I'll get the case out of the way. So this is, I don't know the exact date on this, but I would expect it to be either very late 80s, like 1989, or very early 1990s. So the Vtech were more really known for like toy computers for kids and stuff like that, and I think I don't really remember Vtech much for your computing stuff back in the day. Everything that I ever remember that was Vtech, well, it was like the type of stuff that was aimed at smaller children and things like that. But this certainly isn't that. This is actually a proper laptop. We open it up. We've got a decent. Well, you can't quite see that. I'm gonna get you a little touch. Small, but decent. I'm guessing it'll be a black and white VGA screen. Quite a decent keyboard, suspend resume button there, plenty of LEDs showing us what we've got, power, low battery, hard drive, external CRT, caps lock, not sure what OVL lock is, and num lock, which obviously that's num lock. The case does have various cracks to it. There's a crack in this corner there, and the hinge isn't brilliant on the screen, but for the age of the computer it's not actually too terrible. The worst thing is, like I said, that there, but we will have a go at cleaning that off. To the side we've got connection for an external keyboard. We've got provision for an internal modem, which this hasn't had fitted because the blanks haven't been knocked out there, so it doesn't have the modem card in it. We'll have a look at that side. We've got nothing on that side. We've got a single 3.5 inch floppy drive at the front there. We'll go to the back. We've got a power switch. We've got the DC in that cable I showed before connects to, and then behind this door we have all the ports. So we've got a connection there for an external floppy drive. We've got a connection there for a parallel printer. We've got two 9-pin serial ports and then a VGA port. So it's quite a nice, it's quite well equipped for a laptop of its age. And then underneath we've got a Microsoft Windows compatible sticker, and then we have the slot where the battery would have been. I don't believe I actually have the battery for this. I don't think it actually came with the battery. And there is a little bit of corrosion just on that connection there, but it's only a tiny little bit, so I think the battery was pulled just before it started causing an issue. So what options have we got to actually basically to actually fire this laptop up? Well, one idea I had, and you've seen me do this in the past. In fact, we've got another. It has got a fair few cracks in this. Just notice there's another crack along there. One thing we could do, if we look on the back, it tells us that it uses a rechargeable battery of 12 volts, 1700 milliamp hour, or an AC adapter of 20 volts at 1 amp. So what I'm thinking, if it uses 12 volts on them two connections there, what we could probably do is just connect some crock leads on to there and there and feed it 12 volts at like 2 amps, and basically that would simulate it having a battery in there. As far as the computer was aware, it'd think it's got a 12 volt battery in there, and it would work like that. The other thing we could possibly think we could do is, I'm wondering whether that voltage there is actually present on this cable, in which case we could just identify which one of those wires is our 12 volt wire, and then obviously make it easy, we can just plug in the back and connect it up that way. So what we will do, let's get that plugged into the back. So we're not going to do any repair work to this computer today. I'm just curious to see whether it will actually do anything, because I remember when I first played with it, all I ever did was like I say, I tried it, realised that the power supply was no good, well, not working. I did try to repair the power supply, and when I realised that it wasn't going to be fixable, I put the thing in its case and stuck it up in the attic to, like I said, to look at a later date. And this here appears to be the later date that we were looking for. Right, what we'll use my continuity buzzer. Get a couple of crock leads out. That'll do. Oops, plug that in there. Plug that in there. The only reason I'm using this rather than a multimeter is the simple fact that it's a bit louder and it makes it easier for you to hear on the camera. We'll do the ground first. That should be the easy one to figure out. So we'll connect on there. And I'm guessing that's probably a ground. So let's try that. Yeah. So there's our ground. And I'm hoping that one of these other wires might be a 12 volts. So let's have a look. Let's try some of these. Obviously it's not going to be that one because that's our ground wire there. Nothing on there. Nothing on there. Nothing on there. Nothing on there. Perhaps we're not going to get lucky. No, nothing on there. So it doesn't look like that that 12 volt comes anywhere through to there. Yeah, because we are getting a decent enough contact, aren't we? That's the only thing, that contact there is a little bit on the discoloured side. I will have to clean that up if we're going to use that. Let's have a quick check again. So I don't think we're going to have anything here. Oh, hang on. Oh, there we go. So that yellow wire there, that's connecting through. Nothing else does. That's the ground. Nothing there. Nothing there. You get a little tick from the speaker on. You know what I'm betting? I'm not sure about those, but I'm betting if that's 12 volts there as a yellow wire, I'm betting that that's going to be 5 volts. Bet you any money that's going to be 5 volts. Because if, yeah, we've got a 12 volts there which is yellow. That's not, that is making the speaker click. That's certainly not, yeah. I bet you any money if we connect up that to ground, that to a 5 volt source and that to a 12 volt source, I wonder what the other wires are. I wonder if any of them are just extra grounds. I wonder if let's try that. Although one of them could be like 22 volts, well it does say 20 volts on there, but that's ground. That's coming up as ground. So they could just be grounds. Right, I don't think we'd do any damage if we, I'm not so sure about them three, but if we definitely put 12 volts on that one, ground on that one, I think we could probably put 5 volts. I'll try just putting 12 volts and ground on those two, and we'll have a look. We might possibly think about putting 5 volts on that one. The only reason I'm saying that is the fact that it's red, that's yellow, and it's definitely going to the connection there, which, like I said, that should be 12 volts. Let me go and get a power supply, and we'll see what we can do and connect this up. So, back in a sec. Right, okay, we're back, and I've dug out, this is actually something from my childhood. This was basically the test power supply that I built when I was a kid. I think I was about 14 or 15 when I put this together. And basically what it is, it's the power supply out of an old XT class. I can't remember what make it was. It might even say it on here. No, it just tells you it's a Delta power supply. But it was, I got 2 of these Turbo XT class machines, and one of them had a completely fried motherboard in it. The motherboard was dead, but the power supply was perfectly good, and I kept this and made this like I say, the test bench. So it's basically, it's got AT connectors, because back then, you know, this is pre-ATX days, so I had AT connectors for testing PC motherboards, and then some standard 12 volt and 5 volt Molex connectors again for powering hard drives and things like that up. And then what I did is I brought 5 volts and 12 volts also out to a couple of binding posts there, so I could, you know, if I was experimented with something, I could use it as a bench supply. So I had 12 volts and obviously 5 volts for TTL logic stuff. So I just thought, I've just quickly off camera just powered this thing up and checked the voltages coming out of there, and there's something sensible, so it's still in working order. I mean, it's not actually been powered up since probably the very, very late 90s, that. But no, it is still working. What I think we'll do, we'll just try connecting the 12 volts up and see if we get any life out of the computer, and if we don't, I might actually see if I can connect that, the one that I suspect is possibly 5 volts up. But we know it's not a ground, and we know it's not 12 volts, and it's red. So I think it's probably 5 volts. We won't connect it to now. All we've got is we've got the 12 volts connected there, so as far as the computer should be aware, it should just think it's running off its internal battery. Well, I'll open the laptop up. You can see if anything actually comes up on the displays there. I've got the switches on that side to switch it off and on. Let's power up and see if anything comes up on the computer. Now, I don't even know if this has got a hard drive in it. If it has, it's probably dead. We can get a boot floppy if we get that far, but let's switch on. The power supply is powered up, which is one good thing. Let's try flicking the power switch on the back of here. Now, I heard that load down the power supply, and we do have a power switch, actual power on the computer. The actual power button on the computer is lit. I'll switch back off and it has come back up, so it's, I think it was loading the power supply down too much to actually do anything then. Let's try that again. Yeah, I can hear like a ticking noise coming from the laptop itself, and it's obviously really loading down the power supply. Nothing seems to be coming up on screen. But like I say, it definitely did actually bring the power on there. Switch off. Let's try connecting up that I think is the 5 volts. We've got enough slack on this wire to get it in there. I think that's making connection. Hopefully that's making connection. Right, let's try that. It should be alright with the ground that it's got there. I'm not 100% sure which one of them possibly should be the ground for it, but that shouldn't matter. That should still give us 5 volts, so let's power that up again. And we'll try the computer again. Now, this should be able to produce 12 volts at 4 amps, which should be plenty enough to actually run that laptop. But we are getting the power button there just illuminating. It's just we're not getting any other. We're also getting the low battery light there illuminating at the same time. I'll switch that on. We just as you notice, that's not stable there, but at least we've got some activity. Just bear with us a second, folks. I'll have a little bit of a fiddle around, and then I'll be right back to you. Right, okay, let's try. Let's get rid of that wire. And we will see about just powering it up. Like you saw me do with that Toshiba laptop before off a drill battery, but we'll use this power supply. We'll get a couple of crop leads. And we'll go straight onto the battery connections. Because if this is a 12 volt battery that this uses, this really should make the laptop think it's just got a 12 volt battery in the battery bay. So we'll connect these. Make sure I have connected them into the right ones. Yes, that's positive, definitely. And we'll connect these straight up to the power supply. Now, I know this power supply can supply 4 amps at 12 volts, so that's plenty. This was saying about 1.7 amps milliamp hour on the battery, so I'm expecting it to it'll pull around the amp or so. Okay. So as far as this is aware, the power supply is basically substituting for its battery. We're not trying to, jury rig any other power into it. So if I switch on, we'll try at the back. It is doing exactly the same as it was before. So we obviously with no, apart from like I said, the power light is on, but it's flickering like mad. Apart from that, we've got absolutely no sign of life from this. No sign of anything from the screen. I mean, I expect to see a little bit of something from the screen, even if the screen wasn't fully working, just like a backlight flicker, or if the backlight wasn't working, if I moved it, you hope to see something flick up, but I can't see anything at all there. So what we could really quickly do is just connect it up to an external monitor, just in case it is actually displaying something but it's not actually coming up on the monitor. I'll just quickly get a monitor set up and we can try that. Right, okay, I've got the computer connected up to my my test monitor there, this one here. So let's one final quick try just to see if we get any response from that monitor. I'm not expecting it to really, but like I said, one quick final check. Nor can I see any way of switching between an internal or an external monitor. There's usually something on the keyboard that does it that's usually fairly obvious, but I can't actually spot anything on here that does it. Nope, I think this laptop is fairly dead. So it is going to be yet another one for a repair, a full repair attempt. And in fact, I'm getting the distinct possibility that this has been dropped at some point. I'll switch that power supply off. I'm getting the distinct impression that this thing's had a serious drop in its life. Get the mains connected, disconnected. But yeah, like I said, it's full of cracks. We've got a crack on the back here. It runs from that hinge there, through the hinge, all the way down into the bottom piece of plastic here. We've got another big crack running all the way along there. We've got a crack, where else did I see? Yeah, we've got a crack running up along there. That's part of that crack, there's part of that crack up there. That's a really bad crack. Some stress cracks around the screw holes on this side here. Yeah, I'm wondering whether it's literally took a fall like that on that corner at some point in its life. I mean, it's just nice that we've still got it, and hopefully we can possibly do something with it in the future, and see if we can actually get this thing, up and running. I've got quite a few laptops, to be fair, in the round to it pile, which I really do want to see if I can get working again. I do like you know, 286, 386 laptops. I do like the earlier stuff, which is getting harder and harder to get, and it's getting more and more expensive to get, unfortunately. So this is a particular, it's just a nice sized, you know, fun vintage laptop, really. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. I was hoping to see if we could perhaps get this thing to fire up in this video, but clearly not. Clearly it's one for a video in the future when I've got more time to play with it and we can actually have a proper look, actually cracking it up, having a look inside it and seeing what's wrong with it. I'm guessing it's probably capacitor related. In this era of computer, with them surface mount electrolytics that they started using, generally speaking, issues like this, it's probably is capacitor related. It does seem to be pulling quite a lot of current. If you heard the fan change pitch on my test power supply there, and like I say, I know that can output about 4 amps. This should be nowhere near this. Like I said, we'll have a look on the back here. It's the battery 12 volt. It's 1700 milliamp hour, so we should be well under 4 amps, and it was struggling to power it up. So probably not in like the next video, but we will crack into this and see if we can actually do a bit more of a diagnosis and a repair on it. See if we can actually get the thing to fire up. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now. Hope you enjoyed this little just lucky kind of video. So thanks for watching and goodbye.